Hey, Hans, get out.
I can make it. Thank you all for joining us here today. I wanted to hold this press conference at Carmel Mall to highlight our incredible Somali businesses house. We have an extraordinary entrepreneurs who have built amazing businesses. Carmel holds a special place in my heart, and I look forward to visiting every time I'm home. This is one of the places I recommend to visitors who come into our town because it showcases our vibrant Somali community. Carmel Mall is home to more than 100 small businesses, and the owners here have seen a significant decline in business since Trump's Operation Metro Surge began. Community members are afraid to go out as a result of the occupation in our city by ICE. Not only is the federal occupation hurting businesses, the president's reprehensible rhetoric has led right-wing grifters to show up here to terrorize our community. It is indefensible. Hurting small businesses is just the tip of the iceberg. Under the Trump administration's so-called Operation Metro Surge, constitutional rights are being trampled, families are being ripped apart, and weaponized to try to beat us into submission. Federal immigration agents are terrorizing our neighbors, stopping people of color, demanding papers, detaining U.S. citizens, and brutalizing Minnesotans in the name of public safety. But we know this is not about public safety or immigration enforcement. It is state-sanctioned violence and political retribution. What is unfolding in our state is not accidental. It is part of a coordinated effort to target Black and brown immigrant and Muslim communities through fear, racial profiling, and intimidation. This administration's immigration agenda is not about law enforcement. It is about making people feel they do not belong regardless of their citizen status or the law. But our communities shall not and will not be intimidated. In the face of violence, Minnesotans have organized, protected one another, and showed love instead of fear. Two incredible Minnesotans, Renee Good and Alex Preddy, were murdered for their willingness to stand up and protect their neighbors. Now our community is reeling from their murder that were entirely avoidable. No immigration enforcement agent should ever be allowed to act as a judge, jury, and executioner on our streets.
That's right.
We will continue to demand real accountability. I am grateful my colleagues who have shown immense moral clarity in this moment. I will end with this. We must all do more. Everyone here understands that. Voting no on DHS funding bill is the bare minimum. Backing the resolution to impeach Kristi Noem is the bare minimum. Holding law-breaking ICE agents legally accountable is the bare minimum. We must abolish ICE. This moment demands it.
Do right, seek justice, defend the oppressed. I'm here as a sister in solidarity with Congresswoman Omar. I'm so grateful for her courageous and steadfast leadership. I'm here in solidarity with Movement family, who I have been here many times shoulder to shoulder doing justice work alongside. I am here to bear witness. I'm here to listen, and I'm here to help people process their grief and their trauma. You know, we all understand have consequences. But for the life of me, what I cannot understand is that when someone has a House, a Senate majority, has the White House, and accomplices in the Supreme Court, why, when you have all of that power, you would use it to enact harm on every person who calls this country home. We have an occupant in the Oval Office who traffics in hate, is hell-bent on inflicting hurt and harm and trauma on everyone who calls this country home, with a laser focus on our most vulnerable. He has governed with malice and used ICE agents to terrorize our cities, rip families apart, operating with impunity. Rogue masked agents who violate people's rights in the name of so-called law and order. Yet they detain, deport our neighbors in cold blood without due process. To be clear, none of it has kept anyone safe because it has nothing to do with public safety. Not in Minnesota, not in Massachusetts. It has everything to do with power, with control, with intimidation and oppression. Earlier today, I met friends who make this country great, who make this state great, who fled authoritarian regimes in Colombia, Venezuela, Syria, and Nicaragua. They came here for a better life and to make positive contributions, which they do. And they are so traumatized to be seeing in real time the very authoritarian, fascist, and cruel actions that they fled showing up here in Minnesota and in this country. All this has done is traumatize children, delay cancer patients' chemotherapy, devastate small businesses, and leave beloved community members like Renee Good and Alex Preddy dead on our streets. The last time I was here at Carmel Mall, we broke bread together amongst bustling shoppers. It was vibrant, and we laughed over sambusas and drank Somali tea together. Today, it is quiet. Oh. Today, it is quiet because of fear. When we were at Midtown Global Market earlier today, what is it, Lakeside? Mm-hmm. We learned that Lake Street, home to some 2,000 businesses, majority of which are owned by immigrants, that they are losing $30 million a month. Those are the sort of contributions that immigrants have been making to this economy. I don't know what to do about that. Yeah. They said to take it out. It's better. Okay. All right. Okay. Sorry. All right. That's okay. So the point is, this is devastating families and devastating the economy here. That's why we're here today, to stand in community, to choose community over chaos and cruelty. We're here because although there can never be justice, because true justice would mean that Renee Good and Alex Preddy and Keith Porter would still be alive. I'm not sure, guys, what to do here. But there must be accountability. Don't use the mic. Don't use the mic. Okay. Listen, I'm the Baptist preacher. I have no problem projecting. Can you all hear me? Okay. Okay, so if you want to have church, we will have church. And I mean real church. Not people who speak with a mouthful of scriptures, but walk with a heart full of hate. You know, it has been incredible to be here in community today with people who are every day choosing community over chaos and over cruelty. People who are fighting in defense of the true values of this country and in defense of our neighbors. This moment requires accountability. This week, the Senate will take up legislation to fund the Department of Homeland Security, which includes an additional $28 billion for ICE. We are calling on all senators, Democrat and Republican, to vote no, because Congress should not be funding this campaign of terror. And we can't stop there. The agents who brutalized and executed our neighbors cannot walk away freely. They must be held accountable for their crimes. That means passing my bill to end qualified immunity for federal law enforcement, including ICE agents. And it means impeaching Kristi Noem, who is as incompetent as she is dangerous. She is a dangerous cocktail of authority, bigotry, and incompetence, and she must be impeached. We need to abolish ICE and dismantle the systems of oppression that have gotten us to this point. So again, I thank my sister in service for her courageous leadership, for the invitation to return to Minnesota once again, to stand shoulder to shoulder with my movement family, to do right, to seek justice, and to defend the oppressed. Finally, I will say this. Donald Trump is a dictator. And the only way to beat a dictator is with defiance. I thank the people of Minnesota for your defiance in this moment, and I'm here.
Thank you, members of the public, members of Congress, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and Congresswoman Presley, and local leaders for joining us here today. As an elected of this local neighborhood in the Senate, I think we all know what's happening here is harmful and unacceptable. We can all see and call out the brutality that ICE agents, when we see it on the streets and on camera. But here's what's also brutal. Closed shops and quiet hallways here in the Carmel Mall. That means small business owners and workers losing out, missing the money that keeps them in business, and their bills paid here and in their homes. One of the freedoms Americans value is the freedom of fear, freedom from fear. And it is the fear of harassment, unlawful arrest, and abuse that's keeping Minnesotans in their homes right now. We need ICE, Border Patrol, and unwelcome federal agents to leave our state and to go back to where they belong. And that's testifying in front of Congress about what they've done here and who sent them. And they should be charged for their abuse of power.
Yes.
District 62 has been a lot, and that's the district that I represent. It's been through the death of George Floyd, the murder of George Floyd, the recovery from being one of the hardest hit districts from COVID-19 pandemic. It's the district in which both Renee Good and Alex Purdy has been murdered at the hands of federal ICE agents. In response to that, we've seen that our neighbors have stood up. Our neighborhoods have formed response groups. They've taken to the streets to peacefully observe and to fight back peacefully. And what we've seen time and time again is that we have the federal government putting its weight on our state and on our city. $170+ billion in this operation in a time in which they've been gutting healthcare, in a time in which they're saying there's no money to support our folks struggling with housing or our small businesses, but they have the money to arrest and detain not only our immigrants, but U.S. citizens unlawfully. And so we've seen these racist tactics from our federal government in the past. I'm the son of immigrants. My father immigrated here before 1963 to Montana. He immigrated here the same year as the race statement from George. it seems like coming full circle from our federal government. But we are stronger than that. And instead of our federal government wanting to make an example out of Minnesota, instead we have set an example for the nation. We've set the example of how to fight back and how to push back. And so right now, what we're calling for our congressional members and our leaders to do is that, number one, do not fund the DHS bill, to impeach Kristi Noem, to abolish ICE, and for our governor to enact a moratorium on evictions. And so with that, I want to thank you all, and I'll pass it off to my sister, Representative Aisha Gomez.
Good evening. My name is Aisha Gomez. I serve as the state representative for District 62A. We're in District 62A. Senator Fata pointed out, we both represent the area where Renee Good was murdered and where Alex Preddy was murdered. Today is day 58 of the invasion of our city and our state by masked secret police acting on behalf of a totalitarian, authoritarian regime on the march. Yesterday, 22 neighbors were charged by complaint in federal court with resisting or impeding ICE. This morning, more than a dozen of them turned themselves in, had a hearing, and are now released. Attorney General Bondi tweeted out their names and photographs of them, inviting vile right-wing harassment of these neighbors. What this is. This is an attempt by an administration that is losing the narrative war to smear our neighbors who are engaged in constitutionally protected activities and to intimidate the 100,000 plus Minnesotans who have showed up in negative 20-degree weather, who are showing up to defend their communities who are being disappeared off the streets of our state, and who are informing their neighbors, who are bearing witness and who are documenting the rampant abuses and violations of civil rights that happen literally every few minutes in our city. But they don't know Minnesotans. For the last 58 days, our communities have lived under siege. And for people who don't live here, I think it's sort of an abstraction. But parents walking their kids to school see people kidnapped off the streets. Families are sheltering in place and not going to work, not opening their businesses, not going shopping, not going to medical appointments. You can imagine the cascading impacts of this on one small community. Minnesotans will not be intimidated. You cannot arrest all of us. You can come and try, but you are few and we are many. So I invite all Minnesotans on Friday at 8 a.m. to join community leaders, clergy, and those of us standing up to this incursion at the Whipple Federal Building, to say to President Trump and Attorney General Bondi, if you want to take these 22, you have to come and take the other tens of thousands of us who are mobilized in this moment. That same day, Friday, January 30th, there is a nationwide shutdown, and we will be gathering in downtown Minneapolis at 2 p.m. And finally, to our beautiful, resilient community of the South Side and of Minneapolis and of Minnesota. We all work for you, and I can speak for all of us and say that we have never been so proud to be Southsiders in our whole lives. We are showing the world what it means to stand up to Trump and Bondi and Noam and Bovino and any bully that they want to send our way, and to do so not with violence and with guns, but with whistles and with love and with care. And we're going to continue. Thank you.
Now we will hear from Minnesota State Representative Anam Muhammad, members of the Minnesota House.
I just want to say thank you to Representative Omar and Presley for standing here today with our communities. Speaking truth to federal outreach taking place right now is in itself an act of bravery. Look at what happened last night to our Congresswoman at a similar event. We cannot let this silence us right now in the face of injustice. Firstly, I want to recognize the lives of Renee Good and Alex Preddy. They put themselves between black and brown neighbors and unconstitutional attacks by ICE. I stand with our observers, our immigrant communities, and we condemn state violence. What we see taking place in Minneapolis, in our districts, across the metro, and at the nation at the hands of ICE is not okay. It is cruel, unconstitutional, and politically motivated. While Bovino may be gone, we all know the work of ICE to tear our communities apart and strike fear is very much still with a few days later in El Paso, in an ICE detention center. While we look at every avenue as elected officials, both locally and federally, to protect our neighbors, I know that we right now, one of the most important tools being against the federal government to the table is the court of public opinion. When the polls flip, Trump begins to worry. Our activated neighbors protesting, observing, and doing mutual aid work right now are so important in making sure the nation sees what is taking place and that the federal government is held at some level of account, and we are protecting those at risk in our communities. May one ask is that you don't lose hope right now. Continue to speak truth about the injustice at every opportunity, and that you remain active in this fight. I'll be standing with all of you.
And lastly, we will hear from City Council woman Aisha Chaktai, who represents Ward 10, where we are at.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Aisha Chaktai. I live in the Whittier neighborhood. I'm a Southsider, just 5 blocks away from the site where Alex Preddy was executed in broad daylight on Saturday morning. I want to tell you a little bit about this neighborhood. Whittier, we affectionately call the international neighborhood. This is home to a number of families are cost burdened. We are home here in Carmel Mall, which is the largest cultural mall in the state, where 100 plus businesses serve our community every day. Minneapolis, South Minneapolis, is going through an unspeakable crisis right now. And as we are seeing masked agents of chaos, murderers and child kidnappers come into our community and occupy us and steal and abduct our beloved neighbors, hundreds and hundreds of you are stepping up, and you are getting your whistles and you're getting trained, and you're showing up every day to make sure that not one more family gets taken from us, not one more family gets stolen from us. In this moment, thousands of families in the Twin Cities and across our state are sheltering at home because the choice in front of them is whether they're going to lose their life or they're going to lose their home come Sunday, February 1st. There are 2 things every single person can do right now. First, you can organize. if you don't live in Minneapolis, if you are not under occupation right now, like Tom Homan and Kristi Noem are not going to stop here. They may be coming to your city next. Get organized. Get to know your neighbors. Figure out how you are going to keep together. This is the most task in front of us right now. The second thing, an eviction moratorium right now to help keep families together, help keep families in their homes. I'm really grateful to Congresswoman Omar and Congresswoman Presley for their work in Washington to rein in this out-of-control, murderous regime. And I want to thank all of you for being here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Aisha. And with that, we will take a few questions.
Congresswoman,
Hey, whoa.
what is your message?
We'll call on Tom.
Congresswoman Omar, any concern about doing events like this? Any fear after what happened to you last night at the town hall meeting?
Well, I think my should tell you that the fear and intimidation doesn't work on me. The president's rhetoric, the attacks from him since I've gotten into public office from the right wing has always been really to stop me from being in public service, to intimidate me, to make me want to quit. And my only message is it hasn't worked thus far and it's not going to work in the future.
Congresswoman,
What happened last night? I'm wondering what, if anything, you've heard from your Republican colleagues.
You know, blame is very interesting, but facts are more important. And what the facts have shown since I've gotten into elected office is that every time the President of the United States has chosen to use hateful rhetoric to talk about when he was in office, the first 2 years I was state rep, and the last 2 years I was a member of Congress. It was maybe my second or third week when he started attacking me. I became a freshman who nobody should have actually known I existed because I wielded no power, to having the most death threats of any member of Congress. To the point where I had to have 6 Capitol Police providing 24-hour detail to me and my family. He left office. Well, he was defeated. And Biden got elected. And for 4 years, it almost plummeted. Then he came back into office, and he reassumed his vitriol. And now, my death threats are the highest of the members of Congress. And last night, the man that attacked me was specifically upset that Trump's order to deport Somalis was not yielding enough deportations of Somalis. Donald Trump wasn't in office, and if he wasn't so obsessed with me. It is ironic that just last night he was on stage moments before I was attacked, talking about me. And then when asked about my attack, he said my name multiple times, and then moments later say, Ilhan Omar? I don't think about her. So hopefully that answers your question. We'll take one more question. We'll take one more question from the Somali reporters here.